This time we're going to graph the equation y is equal to 1/3 x minus 2. So I'll just draw my little lopsided t here and say, okay, put my ordered pairs over here. And this time, maybe I'll choose 1 for x. So if I choose 1 for x, I'll write it down, leave a space for my y. Now I'm going to plug in the 1 for the x. I have 1/3 times 1 that I'm plugging in for the x, okay, minus 2. Okay, so y is equal to this, and then I'm ready to go ahead and work this equation out. There's my 1. Okay, so I'm looking at the 1, and I think, well, if I put it over 1 over 1, I've turned it into a fraction. Now I can do this multiplication. It was 1/3 times x, so it's 1/3 times 1 over 1. Well, 1 times any number is equal to the number itself, right? So 1 times 1/3 is equal to 1/3. So now we have 1/3 minus 2. And then we think, okay, we have 1/3 minus 2. We can do that. We can subtract 2 from 1/3 and we'll get a negative number, a negative mixed number, or a negative improper fraction. And then we think, well, we can do that, but do we want to bother? Maybe not. So at this point again, you can say, I think I'll change my mind. I don't like the way this is turning out. I don't want to do that subtraction. So I'll change my mind and say, never mind. I think I will choose something that's going to be easy to work in this equation. Well, when I got ready to do that multiplication and I had the 1/3 times the 1 and it came up with 1/3, okay, wouldn't it have been nice if I had found some number that would cancel? Because you always want to cancel before you multiply. So I can think, well, gee, if something will cancel, my denominator is 3. What if I choose the whole number 3? So I'll choose 3 and find a y to go with it. So now what I'm going to have is 1/3, plug in my 3 for the x, minus 2. Okay, and then I can say, aha, I need to multiply first. Put the 3 over 1 if you want to, as long as you make sure it's in the top. Anyway, 1/3 times 3 over 1. I cancel before I multiply. Those 3's cancel. The 1's even cancel. But after everything is canceled, remember that 1 is always a factor. So after everything cancels out on the top, there's still a 1. After everything cancels out on the bottom, there's still a 1. And 1 over 1 is equal to 1. So now what I have is 1 minus 2. Okay, 1 minus 2. If I have $1 in the bank and I write a check for $2, I'm going to have a negative $1 in the bank. So y is going to be equal to negative 1. So I now have the ordered pair 3 and negative 1. Okay. Well, that was a much nicer ordered pair to work with in the equation. So since positive 3 worked so well, I would think negative 3 might work quite well also. So negative 3 for my x and find a y to go with it. Okay. My original equation, 1/3 times that negative 3 I'm plugging in for the x, minus 2. Okay, then my this over 1. My 3's will cancel. My 1's will cancel. And now that everything is canceled, I still have a 1 on the top, a 1 on the bottom. Only this time I have a positive times a negative, so I'm going to have a negative 1. So now what I have is negative 1 minus 2. If I'm $1 in the hole, I write another check for $2. That's a negative 1 minus 2. I will end up with a negative 3. So y is equal to negative 3. And I now have my next ordered pair. I have the ordered pair negative 3, negative 3. Well, those were both pretty easy. And then I might think, what if I choose 0? So let's choose 0 for the x and find a y to go with it. Okay. So what I have here, y equals 1/3 times 0. There's my x. I'm plugging in 0 for that x. Minus 2. And then I think, okay, 1/3 times 0. Well, that's 0. 0 times any number is 0. So 0 minus 2. 0 minus 2 is just a minus 2 or a negative 2. So I have y equals negative 2. Now I have another ordered pair, the point 0 and negative 2. Now that I have a few ordered pairs, I can graph these, plot my points and graph these. Okay. So here's my graph already drawn. And I say, okay, I want to plot the point 3 and negative 1. So 3 is the x, negative 1 is the y. So I find 3 on the x-axis, negative 1 on the y-axis. Right there is where those two meet. Okay. Then I have the point negative 3, negative 3. Well, negative 3 on my x-axis. And down 1, 2, 3 to negative 3 on my y-axis. Where those two meet is right there. Okay. And then I have the point 0 and negative 2. So if x is 0 and y is negative 2, where those two meet will be right here on the y-axis, the point 0, negative 2. Now I've got these 3 points in a straight line, so all I have to do is get my little straight edge here and line that up. And draw my line. And there's my graph. Now this is the graph of the equation y is equal to 1/3 x minus 2.